Hello and welcome. And one of the concepts or attitudes that I think of as a synonym for mindfulness, or a near synonym or a partner, is goodwill. And I like the word goodwill or well-wishing because it's a relatively ordinary and simple um, attitude. It doesn't require something as challenging as love. It doesn't have to be as a big as a maybe as a big of a deal as even kindness, which means a little bit more actively involved in doing something nice or extending ourselves to others. Goodwill is very simple and ordinary and hopefully something that's accessible to us even in certain circumstances for people who are challenging for us. That maybe not in all circumstances, but if someone we have a lot of challenge with, and maybe even they're considered an enemy of some kind, that in certain circumstances, if they were in distress, we would help them. We would have goodwill for them, and may they be well. So it's a broad term. But to think of it as a synonym for mindfulness maybe allows us to sit down and to practice mindfulness meditation by beginning with goodwill, beginning with a basic orientation towards goodwill. So to assume a meditation posture and to gently close your eyes. And with an attitude of goodwill for yourself and your body, adjust your posture. And take a few long gish breaths with the idea that you do so with goodwill for yourself, for your body, refreshing your body, relaxing your body with fuller breaths. Relaxing as you exhale. And then letting your breathing return to normal. And consider for a few moments your own experience, way of having goodwill, living with goodwill for the people around you, the people you care for, wherever goodwill is easy for you. And what is that experience of goodwill like? How's it experienced in your body? In your heart, in your mind? Goodwill, which is kind of a well-wishing that doesn't have to have a specific wish involved. It's just general attitude that's views people with positive regard, with care, with meeting them with our goodness, our good intentions. And to bring that goodwill to the attention, to breathe mindfully, maybe in such a way that goodwill is suffused into your breathing through the attention to breathing. To have goodwill included as part of your meditation. A form of goodwill that's not a lot of work. A kind of goodwill that can be called on easier with less effort than any kind of ill will that there might be. Ill will takes a lot of energy. Even if ill will is well oiled, takes effort, tension, stress. Goodwill in the simplest form is easeful, relaxed, open. And the primary reference for goodwill is happiness. And as you sit here, breathing in and breathing out, maybe on the exhale, quietly, softly, say to yourself in your mind, or imagine saying to yourself in your mind, saying the word happiness or happy, as a way of bringing more to the forefront an attitude of goodwill as you meditate. Happy. If you find yourself thinking a lot, see if there's a way to return to a simple, mindful goodwill, a simple goodwill form of mindfulness that's more satisfying than wandering off in thought, that's maybe more peaceful, easier, easeful, a general, nourishing goodwill, simply because you're alive, breathing, heart beating, animate animate form of life. Such a miracle. Happy. Meditating with this silent disposition for goodwill, a quiet attitude of goodwill that doesn't require a reason for goodwill or an object for goodwill. In the quiet and stillness of your meditation, maybe it can be a simple attitude that requires no thinking, except maybe repeating the word happy. As we come to the end of this sitting, to begin by saying there's a intimate, reciprocal relationship between goodwill and happiness, happiness and goodwill. When we are happy, goodwill is kind of a natural disposition. We're ready to be friendly. When there is strong goodwill, there's a natural happiness. We're ready to be happy. And goodwill and happiness do not require things to be going right in the world, do not require an object, something that's happening. It can be the outcome of simply meditating, sitting quietly, coming into harmony, homeostasis, into a sense of ease with being alive right here and now, without a lot of thoughts and concerns. And may it be that whatever benefit we have from this meditation, may it predispose us to enter the world with goodwill, with enough sense of being present for ourselves and others, to stay close to whatever well-being we feel, that we know we have. So that our own well-being radiates out as well-wishing. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free. And may these wishes include ourselves as part of all beings. Everyone is included in the simple attitude of goodwill. Thank you. Hello and welcome to this series of talks titled The Sources of Care. And I'm considering 5 different areas sources, attitudes, dispositions that evoke the instinct to care for others. And the last 2 days, I started with the disposition to non-harming. Buddhism has a radical orientation towards non-harming in all directions, including towards ourselves. And then yesterday was generosity. And generosity being, I think of it as a mammalian attitude. It comes with being a mammal. Maybe other living creatures also have generosity, but that generosity to provide people, to provide others, to provide our fellow species with benefit. It's what parents do for their young children. And then today the topic is goodwill. And in Pali the word is metta, M-E-T-T-A, and it's one of the foundational practices of our Buddhist tradition. And metta is translated usually into English as loving kindness. So kind of inspiring combination of two words, loving and kindness. But sometimes it raises the bar too far. That it's maybe hard. That kind of seems like a kind of lofty ideal. And the word metta is cognate to the Pali word mitta, M-I-T-T-A, which means friend. And so sometimes it's said that metta is an attitude of friendliness. Friendliness towards oneself and towards others and to strangers, even towards enemies. A basic positive disposition. It's also kind of a simpler, more straightforward translation of metta is goodwill. To have a basic attitude of goodness, attitude of positivity, of respect, appreciation, of wishing others well-wishing. Even our enemies we can wish well. We can do a little bit for our own sake, that if our enemies can be happy, maybe they would not be so angry or so mean or something. But also, if we find someone who we have a lot of animosity towards, injured on the street, broken leg or something, no one else is taking care of them, that probably we'd offer some care. Probably would maybe bring them some water or do something simple, or maybe something big. And so a simple attitude of goodwill and or well-wishing, and there's an intimate connection between well-wishing, friendliness, and happiness. That when we're happy, it's really clear that almost a natural orientation that we have is to be friendly to the people around us. We're just happy, and the expression of happiness is a kind of kindness, a kind of appreciation, a kind of smiling attitude and delight with the people we're with. And so one of the sources of goodwill, of well-wishing, is our own well-being. And one of the things we can learn from that is that there is a form of goodwill that when we're happy, it's nicer, better, more easeful to have goodwill than it is to have ill will. If we switch for some reason to ill will, we can feel the stress it has on the happiness. It takes away the happiness. We feel the tension that the ill will produces and the rigidity that we maybe feel in the body and the mind. Well-being and well-wishing have a softness, an openness, ease to them. And it's also possible, an amazing discovery is to discover that it's actually easier sometimes to have goodwill for others than, in terms of amount of energy expended and tension involved, than it is to have ill will. Sometimes ill will is so much pressure behind it, so much habit and so much force behind it, that it feels easier to give into it than to have goodwill. But if we can really be sensitive and feel what it does to our whole psychophysical system, probably find that we're actually much better off and much kind of nicer and easier to stay with the goodwill than to get caught in the cycles of ill will and all the things that that involves. So, so it's also possible to discover that because of the connection to happiness and well-being, that there doesn't have to be an object for goodwill or well-wishing. It's because first and foremost, it's an attitude, it's a disposition. Just like there doesn't have to be an object out in the world causing us our happiness or the reason for our happiness, we can just feel happy of just being alive. And there's no reason for being happy, we just are. It's one of the great gifts of meditation, deep meditation, is that we quiet all the calculating, transactional ways of thinking, so that we find ourselves at ease, at peace, happy, just to be alive. Just to be alive is enough. It's almost like if we come into a kind of harmony and homeostasis in ourselves through meditation, the whole system kind of hums happily. But once mind gets caught in things, preoccupied by things, frozen, resisting things, caught in loops, ruminations of negative thinking, it's hard to imagine we'll ever be happy because of the strength of those. And so, but as meditation kind of settles us and brings us into a kind of deeper, I call it harmony and homeostasis, we start feeling a well-being that translates to goodwill, to well-wishing. And that just seems natural. And so we begin understanding, appreciating that there can be well-wishing, goodwill, metta, without a reason for it. It doesn't have to have, a dear friend as the object to have it. It doesn't have to. I know some people evoke their metta, their goodwill, by thinking of a pet. And one person I know thinks about really cute monkeys that he spent time with in a certain forested jungle area. And but it doesn't require anything. It's just kind of the disposition that comes out of the... So it's helpful to know that it doesn't have to have an object, so that when we do start having well-wishing or wanting to have goodwill for others, it doesn't require so much something from the others, that they have to behave just perfectly, or it doesn't have to be transactional. We're just happy to be kind, happy to be friendly. There's an ease in friendliness. It's easier to be friendly, even to someone who's angry, than it is to meet anger with anger, or for us to shut down. And so we have this basic disposition, maybe a biological disposition, that's available to us of goodwill, of friendliness. It gets used in everyday life, maybe in places where it's easy. If we have a friend that we're happy to see, we're happy to be with them, then it's kind of natural to have a lot of goodwill. But to begin learning how to have that sense of inner safety, inner well-being, and translate to a basic, ordinary friendliness, goodwill for everyone that we encounter. This is the great possibility. And to live with goodwill. Now, of course, there's no requirement to do this, and I don't want to get that sense, but it is one of the sources for caring for others. We offer basic human care to them, caregiving, We might nurse someone. We might uh, offer them some support, some help, go shopping for a neighbor, cook a meal, all kinds of things we might do. And it just comes from a basic goodwill and friendliness. It might be the friendliness that's a source for generosity that I talked about yesterday. And so goodwill. And as I said, goodwill, metta, is one of the foundational practices of our form of Buddhism, Theravada Buddhism. And it's well worth becoming intimately familiar with it, or to call upon it regularly, to not just leave it to chance, but to practice it, to think about it, to be reminded of it, to let it kind of be a thread that runs through your daily life, maybe side by side with mindfulness. Life is a lot easier, better with mindfulness. Mindfulness supported by goodwill is even better. And the two together make fantastic partners. So you might want to see if you can infuse or sprinkle throughout your day um, uh, mindfulness informed goodwill and goodwill informed mindfulness. See what you can do, and maybe there's some way of setting up some kind of regular reminder that maybe every 10, 15 minutes there's a gentle reminder of some sign that maybe other people don't even recognize and know that you're doing it. That just kind of like a little bell that goes off, or a little signal or something. Maybe every time that you do something regularly, um, you things, kind of regular things through the day. Maybe every time you go to the bathroom, every time you drink or eat, every time you check an email, every time you look at a screen, every time you're walking. Choose something so that you begin being reminded for to touch into your natural capacity for well-wishing, kindness, friendliness, and perhaps even happiness. May those two go together. And may those support you to lovingly, kindly, friendly, and with friendliness, care for this world of ours. May all beings be happy. Thank you.